So my name is Melissa. I work as part of the student recruitment team here at Liverpool Hope Uni. And I'm joined by Laura, who also works as part of our student recruitment team here at Liverpool Hope. And we're just going to talk to you a little bit today about maintaining health and wellbeing at university. So obviously, you know, when you're looking at universities and considering it and things, obviously you focus on like what the course is like, where you're going to live, all that important stuff. But obviously, it's important as well to consider how you're going to look after yourself at university, not just in terms of like feeding yourself and things like that, but also in terms of your mental health and well-being as well. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Apologies, yeah, there we are. Sometimes the slide changeovers on my laptop are a little bit slow, so apologies if there's just a slight lag. So in terms of what we're going to go through today, basically, like I said, when it comes to studying, deadlines and workloads can often take centre stage, meaning things like our mental and physical health can end up taking a back seat. However, it's really important to maintain your well-being, and it can actually aid your study and achieve better results. You know, if you're feeling really stressed and overwhelmed, that can actually impact on your grades. So it's important to really look after yourself while you're studying. So I'm just going to pass over to Laura.
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little bit into more detail about different types of well-being. So well-being, what does it mean? So it can be defined as the state of being comfortable, healthy and happy. So it's kind of the best you can really be. We want you to feel as comfortable and happy as you can, I hope. And several studies have suggested that pupils with better health and well-being are more likely to achieve better academically. So, you know, if like you're stressed or you're upset, you're not going to really have time to kind of focus on your studies. So by you taking care of your well-being, that can directly benefit your studies.
And in terms of self-care, looking after your well-being, so self-care is really important, and we're going to go into some elements of self-care and maintaining your well-being just in a moment. So it's important to keep physically active, to eat healthy and nutritious meals, build healthy relationships with your peers, to get plenty of sleep, to improve your self-esteem, and to relax when you feel overwhelmed. And as well, always feel free to ask for help if you need it as well. That's really important. So an insight on self-care. So in terms of physical activity, that is one way that you can make sure that you're looking after yourself. Not only is it really important to stay fit and healthy, but it also can increase your mood and energy levels as well, which can have a direct impact on things like your mental health, your sense of well-being, and your ability to study as well. So the NHS recommends for people aged 19 to 64 to be physically active every day. Any is better than none. To do strength-based activities if possible and work all your major muscles twice a week. To do 2.5 hours of moderate or 1 to 2 hours of vigorous intensity activities per week, and to reduce sit-down time and break up long periods of inactivity. So you don't need to run a marathon or anything like that. You know, you can just do little things like making sure you're going for a walk, making sure, you know, you're just getting up on your feet if you're sitting down studying for a long period of time, making sure maybe that you are finding some activities that you find fun and engaging and that get your heart rate up. There's loads of ways that you can just stay nice and active without having to do really serious exercise as well, if that's not what you're into.
So food and diet. So when you come to university, you're going to spend a lot more time kind of thinking about what you want to eat, making your meal yourself. So you don't realise that your diet might be affecting your mood more than you think. So it's good to explore the link between certain foods and moods. So what energises you, what makes you sluggish? Do you feel irritable when your blood sugar is low? So you know that feeling where you kind of get hangry. Just being aware of those things and how your food is linked to your mood. So a balanced diet helps maintain a healthy diet. 5+ fruit and veg a day for vitamins and minerals. You know, we always say that, like, eat as much fruit and veg as you can, which is a little bit harder than you might think, but it's good to be a bit mindful of it. And base meals on starchy carbohydrates, so potatoes, bread, rice, pasta. These are the things that kind of keep you energized for longer, keep you fuller for longer. It's just really kind of trying to recognize that if you're going to eat McDonald's 5 days a week, you're going to feel sluggish. You're not going to want to get up out of bed. So just being a bit more mindful about what you eat can really affect your mood.
So another important factor to think about in terms of self-care and well-being is relationships. So it's important to build healthy, meaningful and constructive relationships that can aid your sense of belonging and well-being. So really try and surround yourself with positive and supportive people that make you more likely to have healthy self-image. So, you know, whilst you're at uni or at the moment even, or your friends from home, make sure that they are people who really make you feel good about yourself, who you feel that you can speak to if you need to, that support you as well, and that you sort of have a healthy relationship with. And in turn, it's important to be supportive of others as well and offer advice that can help others and benefit others as well. You know, it's a two-way street in terms of building healthy and meaningful relationships. So, you know, it's always that saying, treat others as you'd like to be treated. So making sure that if people are being really helpful and supportive towards you, I'm just repaying that as well.
So sleep. There's a huge relationship between the quality of sleep that you have and your mental health. So sleep is really important. And you know, like when you're running off less sleep, you don't feel like yourself. It is important not to force it. So you do something relaxing, like listen to music in another room until you're tired enough to go to bed. And if you're trying to avoid waking where you sleep, because you might find it hard to switch off if kind of you spend all day writing essays in bed and then you try and go to sleep, your mind's going to kind of be on the essays. So it's good to kind of maintain a good relationship with sleep and kind of the space you're both waking and sleeping in, especially in student accommodation. It's quite easy to kind of forget about your desk and like just sit on your bed and do your work. But if you kind of get into the habit of waking at your desk, and then you can kind of leave your work at your desk and then use your bed for sleeping and relaxing, that kind of really helps get into a structure of this space is for sleep and this space is for work. It might be a little bit hard when you first come to kind of get into a good sleep routine. It might be easy to kind of stay up quite late and then wake up quite late, like late in the morning. But trying to get into that good routine can really benefit your health and well-being. Because a good sleep routine means that you're kind of structured, you know what you're doing. But yeah, sleep is really important to kind of keep an eye on and make sure you get enough sleep.
So another way that you can look after your sense of well-being is by improving your self-esteem. So if you have sort of healthy self-esteem, you're more capable of dealing with difficult situations or prolonged periods of time. So good ways to look after your self-esteem are making sure that you try not to compare yourself to others. So obviously that can be quite difficult to bear in mind, especially with things like social media, things like Instagram. It can sometimes look like everyone's getting ahead, everyone's got this perfect life, but it's just bearing in mind that people only put out things onto the internet, for example, that they want others to see. Of course, people aren't going to share their worst days because it's something they might not feel comfortable sharing, but it's just bearing in mind that, you know, everyone has down days, everyone has issues that they're possibly dealing with as well. So it's important to kind of not compare yourself to others, not kind of feel that everyone's getting ahead, everyone's being successful, and you might feel that you're not there yet. That's completely fine. You could do everything at your own pace. Also, it's good to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses. If you acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, obviously, you know, for example, if you acknowledge your strengths, you know your best ways of working, best ways of studying, you know what you're good at, and you can kind of, you know, congratulate yourself for that. There's nothing wrong in taking pride in things that you're good at. But it's also good to acknowledge your weaknesses as well. Don't dwell on them. Don't kind of go, oh, I'm really rubbish at writing essays. But it's good to kind of think like, oh, I'm not very good at writing essays. I need to work on things like my essay structure or my critical thinking. And then once you've kind of pinpointed those areas that you're maybe not as good on, you can then work on building up those skills and turning those weaknesses into your strengths. So it's good to be mindful of kind of what you are and possibly are not good at. And then you can kind of build your skill set from there. It's good to spend time with supportive people, like I mentioned earlier as well. Support doesn't have to be unconditional. You know, it might be important for people to support you by perhaps sometimes saying they think you haven't acted in the best way, or if you if perhaps you might have done something not wrong, for example, but perhaps if you've sort of fallen short in a way or something like that. But it's good to have people who can kind of, you can trust, who will support you through difficult times, and also kind of give you constructive advice as well. It's important to be assertive, so don't allow people to treat you with a lack of respect. You know, always know your worth. If people aren't perhaps treating you in the way that you think you should be treated, it's important to be able to have a discussion with them about it. Like I said, if you've got a good sense of self-esteem, you'll be able to deal with situations like that in a really calm manner. It's good to engage in hobbies that you enjoy as well. I always say when people are looking at universities, you know, you're looking at uni and you might kind of consider things like the course, what the university's strengths are, things like that. You might sort of tend to focus a little bit more on the study side of things, but university isn't all about study. It's also about making friends, trying new experiences, seeing new places, especially, you know, if you're choosing to move away for university. So I always think it's really important as well to consider how you are going to build your experiences up when you're at university. Are there any clubs and societies you can join that you'd really enjoy? Or even, you know, what do you enjoy doing at the weekends? You might like going to museums or art galleries or just to the shops even, you know. It's all about just making sure that you set aside time to do the things that you really enjoy as well. And also it's important to be able to identify mood triggers or unhelpful thinking and challenge them. So there is a way of thinking that basically if you, you know, you might be having a down day and you might be starting to have those thoughts that creep in. I think everyone has every now and again, you know, you might start to think again, oh, I'm really rubbish at writing essays. I feel really bad about it. And I'm really silly, like stupid. I don't know why I'm at uni and things like that. I think everyone has moments like that when they kind of put themselves down, but it's important to kind of think, well, why am I feeling this way? And what can I do to change it? So really kind of turning those unhelpful thoughts that aren't really going to do anyone any good and then just going to make you feel worse into constructive ways of thinking. So for example, how can I improve my essay writing skills? What am I good at? Why am I feeling this way? You know, it might be linked to something like you've not slept enough, you've not eaten enough. So it's all tied in together.
So what to do when you're feeling overwhelmed? So it's important to do things you enjoy and find time to relax. So kind of relaxing can take place in many different ways. You might find kind of playing your favorite video game is relaxing to you. You might find out like listening to your favorite music is relaxing. It's not always just typical kind of lying in bed, like trying to stereotypically relax. It's important to use breaks in your studies to relax and reset and reward your hard work. So that might be kind of getting up every say 20 minutes or so, stretching your legs, taking a little longer break to walk outside, go get a drink, buy yourself some cake. It's that type of thing that kind of it makes the studying feel less daunting, and it kind of rewards you for doing things that are going to benefit you. So taking small breaks more often are a great way to structure your study. So taking like frequent, say 20-minute breaks is a lot better than kind of waking for 6 hours and then taking say like a 4-hour break, because it doesn't feel like it's a break. It's just you've finished studying. So challenging unhelpful thinking is also a good idea. So like Mel's just said, kind of recognizing where these unhelpful thoughts are coming from and what you can do to kind of challenge that, and also to kind of step away and take a break. So if you're focusing on something that kind of you're not getting any further, so there's like a topic that you don't understand, and you find that sitting there and staring at it for hours and hours isn't doing anything, it might be a case of kind of you need to take a break, have a look at something else, go and treat yourself, go for a walk, because kind of when you get into that headspace of I don't understand this, I don't get this, it's not going to help you anymore to kind of focus on that and hyper focus on it, and that's just going to further impact things like your mental health, your sleep schedule, stuff like that. So it is really important to kind of take time for yourself as well. Studying is important, but it's not everything. There's always the times you can find to study, but there's only so many hours in a day you can sleep, and so many hours in a day you kind of meet your friends and go and just do yourself. So I always think relaxing is really important. You are here in uni to kind of study, but you're also here to have fun, maintain good relationships, get new experiences, and just enjoy yourself really. So that's really important as well.
Brilliant. And a little bit more relaxing as well. Some other ways to relax, if you're not sure or you want some tips. Breathing exercises are a really good way to stay calm, especially maybe if you're having one of those days where you're getting a bit stressed. So breathing through your nose and out through your mouth, loosen your shoulders and place your hands on your stomach. And you can feel the rise and fall of your stomach as you're breathing. So that's really making sure that you're really just connecting your breath through to the rest of your body, and can really help you just relax, untense your shoulders, untense your arms and everything like that. Also, another way to relax is to look for and find one thing that you can see, one thing you can touch, one thing you can hear, and one thing you can smell, and one thing you can taste. This is, again, a really good way, especially if you're feeling a bit anxious, a little bit panicky, a little bit stressed. Again, it really helps you to stop having those unhelpful thoughts or thoughts that are perhaps causing you to feel anxious, and instead to really connect with your surroundings and just kind of ground yourself again. And, you know, like Laura said as well, simple things like read a magazine, a book, listen to music, and picture yourself somewhere calm, or even, you know, if you can, go out for a walk, go out for a run even, you know, if that's what you're into, just do something that will help you kind of reconnect with the world around you.
So seeking help. If you're struggling to cope, it's important to ask for help. So Hope is a great university in terms of accessing health and wellbeing help and mental health help. We have a department specifically for that, and students can access that for free. You can kind of access help at different levels, so kind of just having a chat into the chaplaincy, or kind of accessing further help by the NHS, by a counsellor, something like that. It's also important to reach out to friends, families, people you trust. So that might be kind of your personal tutor, something to do with kind of university work, and you're getting stressed about it. That structure is there to kind of help you. And then kind of the people you're living with, your friends on your course. It's a good thing in uni because everyone's kind of in the same boat. Especially the first couple of months, if you're getting kind of homesick, panicky, stuff like that, everybody else is going through the same thing. So there'll be somebody who feels the same way, and just maybe figured out a way to kind of distract themselves or cope, and they might be able to help you. There's also external places you can contact. So there's the Blue Light Info line, the Samaritans and the Childline as well. So they're more kind of helplines if you need immediate help, you need to talk to somebody. They're things that you can call, but there is always some form of help that you can access at Hope, and if we don't kind of facilitate it, they can kind of give you access to other things via the NHS or via different types of healthcare. So it is important to kind of speak up if you're struggling. There's no point really struggling by yourself, because it's not going to help you feel any better, and it's only going to isolate you further. So it is important to know that you can access these things.
Brilliant. So that's all from us. I hope that that was useful and just gave you a bit of an idea of what we offer at Hope, and also just some tips to bear in mind, and keeping in mind your health and well-being, either when you come to uni or even, you know, over the summer months before you go to uni, or around A-level results day as well. So I hope that was all useful. If you do have any questions for us, we've got a bit of time now, so do feel free to pop them in the Q&A. You can just find that at the bottom of your screen. It's two little speech bubbles. If you just type your questions in there, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. And if you have any questions after today as well, you know, there might be something that pops into your head, or you might not want to ask on here, that's completely fine. Feel free to get in touch with us. You can email us on inquiry@hope.ac.uk, or you can find out more on our website and social media as well.